All right. Oh my gosh, I don't have a microphone. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I normally have my super duper broadcaster's microphone set up, but I was so excited about trying to get you some music today that I didn't even do it. So how does it sound? It's just like the mic in the laptop is doing it. So I'm not going to stop and go plug in my Rode mic and start all over again. We're just going to go with the laptop and be present. Good evening, Russ. Good evening, friends. Thanks for the share. So excited to be with the people who are going to see the most change and the most growth. Why is that? Because it's the people who have found their mentors, their tribes, the people that are going to call them forth, that have and show up consistently, plugging along, that are going to see the biggest change and have the biggest testimonies, and we're going to have the biggest leverage up between each other. You know, I don't know if I'm any happier, with 30,000 plays or 300 plays. I think it's like being there and finding out whose life you are touching, which is the most valuable thing. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being a part of the whole good thing here that we're doing. And hopefully we are on YouTube, Periscope still, DLive, Twitch, and this is still going out to Twitter. So just a couple of FYs for you. We are going to be doing, assuming Periscope doesn't die before midnight on March 31st, we have planned a Periscope Broadcasters group event, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Greg Harvey's channel, a week from Wednesday on the 31st, where those of us who wound up broadcasting because of our friend Praying Medic are going to gather and kind of just celebrate what's happened with us gathering and speaking and overcoming fear and disinterest and avoidance to come and bring you broadcasts and what's changed in us, what we think's changed in the community. We're hoping Praying Medic can come on and be interviewed and talk to Greg Harvey about the dream he had that kind of all inspired us. So let's see, we're talking about Pepper, Lisa Perna, Andrea Modi, Greg Harvey, Michael Beatty, Miguel Fornia, and Uncle Larry Norris. And I don't know how many others are going to join. We've kind of had in the atmosphere, we've had a little Maggie Judd thing going on, and Liberty Joe will be broadcasting in the future, but she feels like the Lord told her to just kind of be still and quiet. In the meantime, just so you know, we are all going to be on DLive. Cloud Hub, I'm on Cloud Hub channel 129, and we really, really do believe that Cloud Hub is going to be just a massively important place to be moving forward as it's developed. And the president, Jeff Brain, has put in so much time, energy, money, investment, commitment, integrity to build this out. When IBM ripped the rug out from under him and violated their contract and stopped streaming people. So he's taken the time to build out a streaming platform, and it's going to improve. But right now, you can find most all of us on Cloud Hub. I'm at channel 129. Greg Harvey's there. Praying Medic's there. I think Andrea's there. Lisa's there. Mary Grace is there. Some other folks are there. And so you can find us there, and I would highly encourage you. What I look for, there are people, and you'll find this useful in your own development as a fear-free liver lover. Hey, Larry. When somebody has a real passion and this is really their thing and they have integrity, and you can learn from them and see, well, where are they leveraging? Where are they investing? Then sometimes you can, kind of ride that wave and say, you know what, I think that person has a bead on something where you're going to have an inherent ability to see and understand certain things other people won't. And hopefully we have those big ears and hearts and eyes to be able to judge who's got the juice in a certain area. So I think that some of our broadcasters, like Greg Harvey and Praying Medic and others, they really have done some research and spent time and energy and are investing in Cloud Hub. That says a lot to me, because those are people that are going to draw others and help rebuild our communities up. I also find it interesting that our president, Donald Trump, is losing his media thing, so stay tuned. In the meantime, just for immediate access, my videos are up on Cloud Hub every day if you go to channel 129. If you go to julielavender.com, across the top it says live streams and videos. Just click on that. It's on my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel still. I guess I haven't said anything all that scary to the elites yet, other than when you guys get unafraid, I think as a group we're going to terrify them, right? And so you want to, if you want to have like a quick live streaming option, DLive. We're all going to be on DLive, and then these other things moving forward, primarily Cloud Hub and some other stuff. But hello, if you're on Twitch and you're wondering what is fear-free living, it's because fear-free living is not a nice idea for just people who happen to walk on the sunny side of the street. It's not just an option. It's not just a personality. It's not just the way the cards are dealt for you. It's not just whatever. It is a life skill. Fear-free living is a life skill and has to be taught, trained, practiced, experienced, developed. And it really is a reality that you can actually overcome something that you've lived out, in your life. Maybe you've lived out some very dark things. Now you can learn to live out some new things. And so we'll see what happens as we go forward and develop and move into this thing. Those are sort of the updates. So you might want to mark your calendar for March 31st at 9 p.m. here on Periscope for our celebration of the broadcasting tribe that we've kind of become. Now, in the meantime, I want to talk to you about the skill of plugging along. The skill of plugging along. As believers, many of you are Christians or spiritual people, and we all believe in miracles. We have the heaven could happen. Texting. We have the big minds to give us the possibility thinking of what could happen miraculously. But sometimes that turns us into a little bit of emotional neurotic flakes, expecting the secret handshake to come from heaven to fix it all for us into a passive God just needs to show up, glory clouds just need to break through, one touch from Jesus and it's all going to be okay. You know what? I've discovered that some of those one touches from Jesus were teeing up the ball for my plugging along into the freedom that he paid for. Like the moment something changes in you and there's a healing in your body and your mind and your memory and your thinking, then there are the ultimate realities of what's going to happen every single day when your feet hit the floor, and how you shepherd your brain, how you shepherd that miracle, how you increase that miracle with your daily plugging along. And one of the things that we all need to realize about victory, walking in supernatural victory, walking in supernatural authority over the things of darkness that can hassle us, is that fear-free living is simply plugging along every day and saying, today's the day that I continue doing the right thing that gets me in the right place, that makes me deal with the right stuff that I might not want to deal with. And it's the plugging, the showing up that is, I believe, the most deep changing to the wiring of the brain. Because if you really think about what's wired us and hardwired us, because we can be rewired, but that really means that some things are going to change in your body, and chemicals and systems are literally going to change. If you want your brain to be rewired for confidence and peace, that has to get more and more deeply in you. The messages that are the hardest are the ones that you got earliest, the most scary, and the ones that were just day in and day out, never challenged. Just maybe they were reinforced with abuse, right? Maybe they were just reinforced with somebody's saying the ugly thing to you again, somebody's hitting you again, somebody's scaring you again. But a lot of times the wiring that has gone the deepest and made the biggest effect is just coming from passivity. It's just the brain is designed to save energy and keep you safe and involved in this world. Okay? That's what the brain is designed to do. And so there's a lot of stuff that gets deeper and deeper and deeper into us, creating a body that's hyper aware of things and reacting The body's reacting based on our beliefs about what we should be afraid of. And some of the deepest things are just your body's laziness, your laziness. Your body's going to go, well, I'm going to make the decision. Julie has always been afraid and anxious about this. Julie has always avoided this. So here it is again. I'm just going to make a decision for her. Did you know your brain makes decisions for you? Did you know your brain goes back into the wiring of your deepest held beliefs? And when you come across someone or something, it defaults and says, I'm going to tell you, I know she's going to freak out. I know she's going to avoid. I know she's not going to deal. And so the thing is that the killer in that setting is our passivity and the fact that we just let it go. And we don't throw the flag on the field and say, no, today I'm doing something different. Today I'm saying something different. Today I'm choosing to change my words, to change my thoughts, to change my behaviors, because as an act of belief, as an act of faith, the moving you out of passivity, when you do that, your brain goes, wait a minute, that's new information. And it shocks your brain and it doesn't like it. Your old thoughts don't like being changed for the neurological reason that your body wants to save energy, and it takes energy to change and rewire. So when you make a change and you say, today, not today, today is my new day, I'm doing it differently, don't be surprised if old wiring comes up to give you reasons why you shouldn't change, because it's just too hard and it's not what we used to, and you've just for years been so passive about that particular attitude or person. Just so passive. So what's happened in all that passivity? Country store changed. Wait, red alert. It can face paint for kids. It's going to happen after all, Rebecca. Let's just newsflash. I did a scope a couple of weeks ago about it being local and you getting out of your house to literally physically be in proximity to touch people with love and peace and joy and activation in your town. That's whether that's knocking on doors to find like-minded people, having a block party, having a tea party, meeting for coffee, going for walks, having people over for dinner, So Rebecca, who's out in the country, tried some stuff and got snubbed. Total snub-offery. And you know what? She decided she wasn't going to give up. She plugged along. And now the country store that thought she was kind of weird changed their mind, and she's going to be able to face paint for the kids. Yes! That's plugging along. One of your worst enemies is not just re-traumatizing you in the same area where you had the same terrible experience. It's simply passivity. And letting your brain take over your old wiring and your own unconscious, non-conscious systems take over and just rewire it. Because it's just it creates a deeper and deeper network, like a thicker and thicker set of neural fibers. Because your brain is trying to keep you safe, trying to preserve energy, trying to be, alert to what your needs are going to be. And so if you don't make the effort to plug forward into change, your brain is going to continue to plug in place what you've already had over and over and over and over and over and over, and give you thicker and thicker and thicker amounts of layers of thinking and complacency to keep you from changing. So some of the deepest, most magnificent, miraculous changes come because we show up and we plug along and we say, not today, old wiring, which of course the enemy picks up on, and there can be demons that capitalize on that. They capitalize on what you let in and what you believe. Not everything is a demon in you, but they do take advantage of what you've chosen to leave there. What darkness and sin, what patterns and habits, what things you won't touch, won't deal with, won't adjust. They just go, wow, that's a wonderful place for us to hang out. Let's hang out there and add some supernatural, heavy-handed, spiritual influence on top of the wiring and the laziness and the recalcitrance of our lack of action. So doing nothing about your fear actually increases it just simply on a neurological level. Because, for example, if I see someone that bugs me, that I see them and I walk in the room and I think it's the person who hurt me, even if it is or it isn't, my brain goes, oh my gosh, that's the person who hurt her. She could get hurt again. We don't want to do that. Let's leave the room. Let's get out of here before she sees so-and-so. And it will start to make that choice for you, because that's the choice you've always made. You're not going to deal with it. You're not going to get the healing. You're not going to have the confrontation. You're not going to make the changes. You're just going to run and hide from the scary whatever. So it literally will begin to make changes, make decisions for you. It'll put you in a fear state. First decision we need to make for Julie is be afraid, be very afraid that person could kill you or hurt you. So then it ramps up fight or flight. And then it begins to make decisions and help set you up for the thing you always do, which is look for a way out. And your passivity in that setting is actually adding to your fear because it's going to wire another layer of that into you. So plugging along, when you get the revelation, when you get the touch from God where he sets you free from something, you need to plug along into layers and layers and layers and layers of new truth that builds on that and takes it back and says, no, that's a possibility. I may not want to confront so-and-so today under these circumstances, but I'm not running. I have a choice. I'm going to do it slightly differently. I am now aware that my reaction, I can do the following things to deal with that pain, to deal with those lies, to get some help, to get some new skills, but I'm not just going to passively accept another layer of wiring about that situation and what I believe. Do you get it? So plugging along is important in the fear-free life. You get it, you see it, you try it. Like with Rebecca, she gets, masks off! Oh my gosh, Rebecca gets to paint faces with masks off! And some people will be triggered, but they're not your tribe then, yet. You're going to paint the faces of the kids who are ready, right? Of course they need their masks off for face painting. What a beautiful way to heal them. In fact, Rebecca, I want to encourage you to find a way to put your hand on each child and just quietly, in the name of Jesus, release them from the mind control, the propaganda, and fear of the masks. Just gently, just each one. Be free. Be free, break that power. Whoa! So what I'm saying, plugging along is essential. Just plugging along. There's days when you're just, you're feeling uncomfortable. Yes, you do need to watch this again, Lorraine. You're going to be uncomfortable. You don't feel like a lot of change is happening. You had a revelation a few months ago. Something really clicked. God healed you at another time. But you got to understand your brain needs you to make the decision of what's going to get more thickly and deeply wired. It needs you to make that decision. Otherwise, it's going to make it for you based on your past and what you've already decided. Adding and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. So we think us taking small incremental steps and speaking out loud or saying we might have a lot of fear, a lot of things we haven't dealt with, and we think our little steps of dealing and taking care of stuff, even cleaning out a closet, right? Things like that we've been avoiding that have created anxiety for us. We think that doesn't mean anything. We don't think that a change of thought quickly doesn't mean anything. It totally does. You literally, in a thought, can change a rewiring. You can have something come on you, toward you, come up in you of old wiring. And if you just passively go, oh, there it is. Yeah, that's my reality. Rewire. Rewire the failure of your process. And in 1 second, one little plugging along, say, no, you know what? I don't know exactly how I'm going to handle that, but I'm a new person today, and we're going to do it differently. So powerful. So plug along. Plug along with the skills I've given you, with the things you know God wants you to do, with doing things that scare you, right? That keep, just plug along. That's the faithfulness. That's the daily. That's the miracle of walking in the supernatural, is that what God gave you as a supernatural gift, you value so much that you are taking that into the little crevices of your life. That God's revelation to you is meaningful in the cracks between the big things, because you're choosing the fear-free way. You're choosing the way that confronts and sets a boundary and says, sorry, I'm not doing it. Okay? So, hang in there. And as I play again my son's tune, An American Revolution, this, my friends, plugging along is a big part of the revolution. Because we think of the Battle of Bunker Hill, Breed's Hill. We think of the moment that George Washington did this across the Delaware, or the moment that there's a big breakthrough with some big political issue. But the reality is that the neural nature of Americans understanding our liberty and freedom has to be lived every day with the plugging along choices to not wear the mask, to not believe the propaganda, to say what we think, to gather, to preach the gospel, to work in our communities. That's the plugging along of the American Revolution, of the Second American Revolution, us coming alive and saying, I won't be controlled anymore. I won't be manipulated anymore. I won't be taught to lose. I'm teaching myself to win. God is teaching me to win, and I'm plugging along at that every day. Every place I go and take that damn thing off my face. Every place I go and I pray for things. You know what happened to me yesterday? Of course, we're in a different state. We're in Florida right now. But I'll tell you, Florida's completely open. Okay, they don't have any of these restrictions. But people are self-restricting because of the mind control. But the thing about it is you can go in everywhere, including Home Depot, and not self-restrict. And you don't see the Karens like you do in other places. I haven't bumped into them. So I go everywhere where people are still self-restricting, and we don't. So it's kind of lovely that way. But I just visited a church, and they were talking about evangelism, and it reminded me of what I love to do. So I was in Home Depot picking stuff up, and guess what? I got to pray for 5-6 people that needed physical healing in Home Depot. It was the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing. And so it was important. I was plugging along into the new me, into a place where I'm communicating, be free. Take off the restrictions. I'm plugging along into a new place, into a new state, into a new environment, new influence, new relationships. Just plugging along. Every time you plug forward, there will always be a little pullback from your brain because of the way you were created and the way it's always just wanting to keep things the way they were. And this is where you get to decide, no, I'm edgy. I'm forward thinking. I'm a risk taker. I do stuff that makes me uncomfortable and scared. Why? Because I am actually changing myself to be more confident by the grace of God and Him in me and my stewardship of the miracles I do get from God and I do walk in. So there you go. Larry says I don't self-restrict at all. Yes, plug along here in New Jersey, which is Nazi Jersey. That's right, Lorraine. And I was watching Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter, and he was saying that he's got all these. He just doesn't ever wear them. He doesn't wear them on planes and stuff because he got massive medical whatever, but he uses it and pushes it back. And he said, you don't win every battle, but we win the war. I'm winning the war on this thing. I'm winning the war on not doing this, even in places when most people, really, really threaten me. I win the war. And so you may not win every single battle, but you can win the war. Like, have you noticed that those things they ask you to wear have layers and you can cut out multiple layers so that looks like but you really have way more breathability? I love that. That's aggression for goodness. That's pushing back. That's saying, oh, really? You're going to I think there's another way to skin this cat. I think I'm going to be creative. I think I'm going to push back. I think I'm going to take that risk. I think I'm going to go forward. And you know what? Honestly, in most businesses, people don't want to be enforcing. This is a thing that they're getting from the lawyers on their deals, so they put it up thinking, well, if I have this up on my storefront, I'm good. You find the way to plug along and plug forward, right? And I know South Florida is because why? They brought all their fear with them. When they go to Florida, they brought it all. But you know what? I really believe God is moving. And it ain't over till it's over, right? And you're plugging along forward with your freedom and your clear thinking and your response to the old wiring that wants you to close up and shut down and avoid is everything. Plus, we release the glory. What does Kat Kerr say? I loose from my soul right now all the pressure, all the opinions, all the negativity in Jesus' name. Just loose it. I just loose it right now in Jesus' name. And I bind to my soul freedom, glory, liberty, love that just sets people free and flows out of me and helps me deal with my old stuff. Alrighty then. So, what are you going to do? Plug along doing stuff that scares you. And don't you think it ain't going to matter. Don't you think it ain't going to matter. It all matters. The enemy's terrified. He's terrified of us ever getting this. So we have to practice. We have to learn it. Fear-free living is a life skill. You got to practice it. You got to learn it. Okay? You have your assignment. Go for it. Again, you can see julielavender.com. You go to Cloud Hub. You can sign up to get notifications for my programs. You can get, give me contact information on julielavender.com if I ever do a newsletter or something, which you never know. I just might. And DLive, a lot of us are there. Twitch, I'm still on YouTube, still on the Twitters. And we will be doing our special broadcast on March 31st at 9 o'clock, unless for some reason they sunset Periscope at 8. In any event, stay tuned, stay free, and stay doing that edgy stuff, plodding along on doing what scares you. And let's see, how about we play this one more time? Well, I'll play it tomorrow, the American Revolution song. Oh, okay. There it is. That's right, Darren. The enemy wants to mute, mask, and cancel. Truth and freedom, joy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. Connection with each other with God. That's right, Rebecca. Thanks for sharing this. I know you're on Facebook watching, but I can't see the Facebook chat. I'm so sorry. Part of the revolution, inside as well as outside.